So I'm Keith Atkinson. I'm lead developer at Lexul. We're a local software engineering company. So our specialty is working with other businesses in automating their processes. So we just recently graduated from the Smart Zone working with Jason Mack, which was really exciting. We've moved up to the 6th floor of the Judo Center now. So one of the things that we do for our clients is we rapidly develop software. And what I mean by that is a lot of clients come to us and they know that they have room to improve their processes and they know that they have room for automation, but they don't know what those solutions are. So we work with them to find the best value for them. Typically the best value for our clients is working on improved employee accountability and working on timekeeping. So first off, I'd like to talk about a company we've worked with for a very long time, NLES Incorporated. So they're a pretty large company. Basically what they do, they send a team out that goes to every AutoZone and Dollar General in the country, and they go through and they look for those fluorescent tubes where they make high efficiency LED versions. How their business works is one team goes out, they go through and count all of their existing lights, and another team follows up and does the install. However, their original process when we first started working with them was they would go out with handwritten forms, count all the lights, send them to the office, they would type all of that into an Excel sheet, print that out, give that to another team that would go out, do the install, throw everything out on a handwritten form, and retype that into a computer. One of the challenges you face when working with a company like that is while that process is inefficient, they were really efficient as far as typing things into an Excel sheet when. So it's hard to get them to move on revamping their entire business for an electronic solution. Now, working with NLES, what we found with their major issues were that we could alleviate that time spent by skilled staff retyping things, by converting everything to a mobile app with an electronic submission. The next thing that we were able to do, once we were electronically submitting things, we could verify that hopefully their audit of the LED lights was within a certain range. We could verify that they were actually at the store counting these lights with GPS. And we were also able to remove self-reported time logs. So suddenly people were working about half an hour less every day, it turns out. So what we're going to focus on today is our timekeeping solutions. So we work with a lot of clients, and they almost all have similar but different requirements for what they want to do for their time logging. So first I want to talk about another solution to doing time logging. And that's teamwork. So I use teamwork at my job. What you do is you start up a bunch of tasks and you have this running timer. And it works well for a couple of small tasks. And this might be an example for a general contractor. You have your travel task, your machine repair task, and just a general task that you flip between. Now I, working at a small business, this is a small set of tasks that I will have to flip between. I have 6 of them because I work on a multitude of different projects, I work with a lot of different people, and sometimes I even make the coffee. And I'm supposed to log all of my tasks in this format. Now, teamwork is a general solution, but it also doesn't have a mobile UI. So our solution to that, well, I want to talk one more thing about it. So a big issue with teamwork is you can log only one task at a time. Now, in teamwork, when say I have to adjust my time log, I have to log that time, then go back and change it. As an employee, I'm not compensated for that time spent actually using this software. So what happens then is I don't use it, or I don't use it as well as I'd like to. And this happens for everyone because it's time consuming and you're not compensated for that. Our solution, after working with a bunch of different clients, was primarily this. On that right-hand side, we want to have a button that we can drag and drop into all of our apps that we build for people. The primary solution that we found is to always have a total time running and then your individual tasks. This way that when someone is both traveling to an AutoZone or installing lights, they're always being paid. But what they're actually doing might differ. This is important because typically a client might be billed at a different rate for a different task, whereas the employee is usually compensated at the same rate. Another issue that we find is a lot of these little quality of life tools that are actually extremely important. So one feature that we implemented was the ability to quickly add and subtract time. It happens a lot that I'll be doing client work and perhaps the UPS guy comes by. I have to sign the package. I can't say, no, wait till 3 p.m. when I'm allowed to be interrupted. I have to do it then and there. So then if I didn't pause my time, I can get back to my desk, get back to my job, and I can just quickly subtract 10 minutes. The client's not built for that time, and more importantly, when we're looking back at time that we've recorded, we can accurately gauge how long the task actually took, because all of these interruptions were easy for me as an employee to discount from that time. And then we wanted to make it reusable. So this simplified time logging system, we've implemented into a module that we can then implement into any app that we make. So as an example is a general time tracker, then we have GeoArchive, and then an app for NECI. So we can just drag and drop that into each one and customize it to what their time logging needs actually are. So now we've built that, but we log our own internal time. So now we're working on expanding that into our own tools to fit our own needs. An issue that we face, we're a very small company. We don't have a lot of middle managers running around. So what we want from our management software is not project management, but feature management driven design. So when you create a project, first thing we want to do is give a name and a description, but then we also want to list a budget. In a small company, we don't necessarily need to hide that from all of our employees. This lets everyone working on the project know the scope of the project and where we can give the customer the best value. Then we have features. So features can be added by a manager or anyone else. And a big advantage that we've put in here is we want features to have risk. So when we're thinking about features of a piece of software, there are things that we as a company know how to do. GPS tracking is a very low risk feature. Connecting to a proprietary device is a very high risk feature. This allows someone who isn't even versed well in programming have a hand in what they think the risk of a project will be. Then once you've made your features, so you've been working with a client and you've gotten an idea of what they want, your developers can go in and they can add their tasks. As a developer, we always want to give 3 estimates, a low, expected, and a high bound. That risk is then used to calculate an estimated and suggested risk and lower bound, upper and lower bound. The advantage to that then is that when I'm quickly making tasks for a feature, I don't have to spend a ton of time on these projected values, but we are making sure we're including them. And of course you can adjust those, because certain things we know exactly how long they will take. Now we want to collect some data from that. So one of the goals is to take that risk and to take those time estimates and create graphs and data that anyone can use. So this would be an example of, say, we have user management, something that we know how to do on the far left. But in the middle, we have device connection, where the whiskers are very high. That's the risk of that task. So when my boss gets a call from a client and they'd like an adjustment to, say, user management, he can confidently say, yeah, we can probably make that change. But for something riskier, like device management, he can quickly look at a project and say, well, I think that I'm going to have to work with my team on that feature. Then we want to be able to take our collected data, which is our estimated times relevant to how long a task actually took. And then we want total projected time. So this way then we can go back and make sure that our time estimates were accurate to the project. And I did want to mention one more thing on this. For our internal timekeeping, we want the time log to a feature, not just a task. Because when you have lots of tasks, your employees typically don't use it, so that granularity isn't that useful. But this lets us go back and look at a project and very quickly know, oh, Bluetooth connection took this amount of time. Their user management took this amount of time. So to summarize, what we've done is we've made a mobile-first, easy to integrate time tracking solution, and then we're implementing that into our own management software that we plan to use internally. Any questions?
So when you're estimating the time it takes to build a feature, that's based on the tasks that developers create. Do developers continue creating tasks as they discover new things that they need to build for that feature? And how does that relate to your actual budget for that feature?
Right, so ideally how we intend to use it is that, we take the feature, report it. Well, I know that I need an endpoint for, say, reporting the data. I know I need an endpoint for reporting the user. I know I need an endpoint for reporting the timestamp. Those would be 3 tasks. I can say, well, each one I think is going to take an hour, and automatically it will suggest going upper bound for that would be 2 hours, based on the risk of that feature. And of course, you can go through and manually overwrite any of those estimates. And then you can go back on your total project, and there will be a breakdown of features, so then you can clearly see what features are most time-consuming and most risky. And that's our intention. Anything else?
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I like the modularity, so you can throw this into different mobile apps. Are there other modules that you are thinking to build that you can kind of, it looks like you're building a suite of modules that you can package into different customer-facing solutions. Are there other modules you're looking to build?
So, well, currently we do have a pretty extensive code base. So, like, we have code bases for multiple file upload is a really common one. Offline storage is a really common one. This is just the only thing that we've really made that is visually pleasing, and it's something that we do so much that it's worth really investing the time into a nice, polished solution that we can drag and drop into projects. Yes.
Do you have customers already, or are you working on that?
Yeah, so, well, as a company, we actually work with a lot of clients. I mentioned NLES there. We have a lot of local clients. If you're familiar with Trio pre-college programs, we've worked with them some. They're local. Local with Finlandia too. Yeah, so we actually have quite a few clients. And most of them are written on this framework right here. So NECI, we've been working with them some. They do nitrate testing. So we do have existing clients,
Okay.
yeah. Yes? Oh.
Can people try this out for a short period before making a decision? Like if I wanted to share this to other small engineering companies,
Right,
would
so,
I contact you first?
yeah, so if you wanted to reach out now and ask us, right now we don't have a polished solution. This was sort of a thing we were working on internally, and we had the opportunity to present our 1 million cups. So this presentation kind of took precedence over that. But if you're interested in it and you think that it has features you're looking for, feel free to reach out with us. Ideally, we get it to a polished point. We don't really intend to compete in the project management space. We compete in the custom business software space. So for us, it'll be a tool to show clients just another example of work we've done. Yes.
Do clients come to you with an existing app that they want modified, or do they come with the first one you said they didn't have any electronic, you just built the app from the ground up?
Yeah, well, so most of what we've done, they want something completely different. So maybe they had a software solution that was very expensive, and they say, we didn't need all of this, it was confusing to train people on, let's make something new. Not very often does someone come to us with an existing solution and we change it if they have something extremely large.
Do you have anybody who's actively asking for this, or is this something that kind of came up from your own ideation process, or just?
Well, yeah, so almost every client we have in some way asks for time logging. Most of them don't ask us to make an expanded implement or a drag and drop solution that we can use in all of our apps. So time logging is very common amongst our clients.
But the goal is to be, once this is polished, to then go back to these clients and say, hey, now we have this new feature, it's going to cost this much, and I think we're really helping us.
Yeah, I mean, that would be great if we were able to polish it to that.
Gotcha. Any other questions? We're really, good.
Go ahead.
Is your long-term goal to continuously just build out your portfolio and then, I guess, add those to whatever clients come to you, or is it more to build those and let other developers utilize the tools to build for their clients?
Right now, it's to build out our internal tools and continue competing in custom software development. As far as long-term goals, we really like to get to a point where we are self-sustaining and work on our own internal projects. Any other question?
Okay, I see the big picture for most companies that need to have things, technology to have it at the fingertips on time, but could companies who are bidding on projects benefit a great deal from the programs that you can set up to say, they're trying to bid on how long it's going to take to do that, manpower, all that kind of thing is a gauge.
I think you could definitely take what we're trying to collect and take a project and guess through, features that you would want and then go bid a project. I think that'd be a great use for it.
All right, so what does we as a community do to support the development?
I think one of the greatest things to support our business would be if you have an existing business, would be to reach out to us at lexul.com. It's not any there, but it's easy to remember. And tell us what is stopping you from reaching out for your own software solution. So maybe if it's cost, if it's implementation, or any challenges that you think you would face with that. Next question?
One last question. So can you give us a ballpark about pricing? Is that putting you on the spot?
Eric, can we give a ballpark?
It depends on the scope of the project.
See, you piqued my curiosity and the wheels started turning.
If you email me, I can give a ball. If I have an idea of the project is, of course I can give a ballpark. But
Okay.
to throw out a number,
Right, gotcha.
how much does a car cost?
Right,
But I guess just to help you out is because they've built up these different modules, they can quickly deploy a solution to you rather than just starting from a blank black screen and you have to start filling in code, right, Eric?
Yeah, I guess I can add to that. What we're trying to get to the point is that we can offer custom software almost at software as a service price point, where you're currently paying so many dollars more per user for some software. We may, get to the point where we can do that with something custom with a lower implementation cost. So the label expenses, it's not going to be as cheap, but it's not, it's $50,000.
Any more questions?